As the real heir, Leo Vance, threatened to jump off the yacht rather than rejoin their prominent family. My 4 older sisters were on the verge of begging him not to do anything rash. Just then, my inner thoughts suddenly flooded their minds. Don't bother trying to talk him down. Leo has no intention of actually jumping. He just wants to make a scene, to let everyone on this yacht know that he's the true-born son of the Hawthorne family. All I have to do is walk over there, and he'll grab me and pull me into the sea with him. His goal is to see whether our 4 sisters and little sister will choose to save me or him. But after all the trouble I've caused over the years, they're completely disappointed in me. They'd never save me. Besides, I'm not even their real brother. In the end, Leo will be rescued, and I'll drown in the ocean, fulfilling my role as the villainous supporting character. His plan will work, I'll get to go back to the real world, and the main story can finally begin. The 5 women flinched, their heads snapping in my direction as I stood off to the side enjoying the show, their eyes wide with shock. Lost in my thoughts, I started walking toward Leo, completely oblivious to their stares. 1 step, 2 steps. Just as I was about to reach him, a hand suddenly shot out and grabbed my wrist. Ethan, it's dangerous. Get back here. I turned to see Olivia, my eldest sister in name. Ah, my beautiful, captivating sister. It's such a shame she'll be killed by Leo later, left to die tragically on the street, her body not found until it's decomposed and rotting. Olivia froze when she heard my thoughts. Olivia, Leo's DNA test has to be fake. He's not your real brother. I am. Don't believe him, I shouted, yanking my hand free from her grasp and lunging toward Leo again. Leo, I know you're jealous of me, but you never should have used the fact that I'm not a real Hawthorne to attack me. You bastard. Go to hell. I broke free from Olivia's grip, thinking, almost there. The main character looks pissed. The second I get close, he'll definitely drag me into the ocean, and I'll finally get to drown. But my excitement lasted only a few seconds before the other 4 swarmed me, each grabbing a limb. Ethan, are you trying to get yourself killed? If you fall in, you're dead for sure. Ethan, what the hell are you doing? They glared at me, looking like a pack of wolves about to tear me apart. I swallowed nervously. Host, you have 10 seconds remaining until your scheduled death. If you don't fall into the sea within that time, you'll never be able to return. The system's voice echoed in my head, and panic set in. I screamed at them, don't you know what's wrong with me? You're my sisters. How could you be Leo's family? I don't believe it. This is all his scheme. I hate him. I despise him. Meanwhile, I was thinking, please, just let me go. Leo is your real brother. I'm just a disposable pawn who's supposed to die. Let go, I need to die. Using every last ounce of my strength, I finally broke free from their 4-person grip and sprinted toward Leo like my life depended on it. He couldn't react in time, and I tackled him, sending us both tumbling over the railing and into the sea. The moment we hit the water, the cold shock was followed by the sea flooding my ears and nose. The choking sensation made my head throb with pain. It was so much worse than I'd imagined. Son of a bitch, is drowning really this agonizing? Olivia was the first one to dive in after us, followed by Sophia, the second oldest, and then Isabella, the third. They plunged into the water one after another like they were lining up. Leo saw figures swimming toward him and felt a surge of joy. They really did care about him after all. But a second later, someone yelled, Sophia, Ethan's sinking. Instantly, the figures that had been swimming toward Leo abruptly changed course, diving deep into the water and heading for the darker depths. Leo stared in disbelief. He was their real brother, so why were they saving a complete stranger instead of him? The system's world departure countdown began in my head. 5, 4, 3. I relaxed my body, letting myself sink slowly toward the seabed, waiting for death to claim me. Suddenly, I felt a hand grab my waist, and a powerful force yanked me upward. The world spun, and the next thing I knew, someone was brutally and frantically pressing on my chest, making my ribs ache. Damn it, Ethan, if you dare to die, I'll tear you limb from limb. Who is that? So vicious. They want to dismember me even after I'm dead? I coughed violently, spitting out a lungful of water. When I opened my eyes, I was filled with joy. Grandpa, I'm back. Suddenly, 5 heads popped into view, staring intently at me. I immediately fell silent, my gaze shifting nervously. Didn't I die? My second sister, Sophia, let out a cold laugh, her hair still dripping with water. You're not dead. The moment I heard that, I shot to my feet to jump back in, but my third sister, Isabella, grabbed me in a bear hug and started dragging me away from the edge. I thrashed on the deck, screaming, Isabella, let me go. I want to go home. I'm taking you home right now. No, that's not what I mean. I have to die. There's no time left. Desperate to get home, I slammed my elbow into Isabella's shoulder with surprising force, making her yelp in pain. I seized the chance to break free and bolted for the railing, only to crash headfirst into Leo, who was struggling to pull himself back onto the yacht with a life ring. With a loud splash, he fell right back into the water. I was completely baffled. What the hell? Why isn't anyone saving the main character? I grabbed my fourth sister, Ava, who was standing closest and just watching, and flipped her over my shoulder into the sea. What are you gawking at? Save him. Ava reluctantly pulled Leo out of the water, and I breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, the main character is safe. Now it's my turn to die. With that thought, I leaped over the side. Before any of them could react, I was gone from the deck. But as soon as I jumped, an invisible force slammed me back onto the yacht. My head cracked against the deck, and everything went black. In my dream, I saw my parents, whom I hadn't seen in so long. We were all happily sitting around the dining table making pastries for Christmas. My grandpa even slipped me a card with some cash in it. We were laughing and talking. It was so warm and perfect. But soon, dark clouds gathered outside, thunder cracked, and the cozy scene turned terrifying as my mom, dad, and grandpa vanished. Dad, Mom, Grandpa. I shot up in bed, panting heavily. The room was familiar with its over-the-top, luxurious decor. This wasn't my bedroom from my own world. It was my room in the Hawthorne mansion. I'm not dead? My second sister Sophia's icy voice cut through the silence from beside me. I called in the best medical team in New York to save you. That's the only reason you're still alive. I turned my head and saw her sitting on the sofa, working on her laptop. I forced an awkward laugh. Sophia, since I'm not dead, has the part of the story where Leo gets officially accepted into the family started yet? Wait, is the plot really the most important thing right now? The point is I didn't die, which means I didn't get to go home. System, get out here. After what felt like an eternity, the system's voice finally chimed in weakly. Host, my sincerest apologies. The window for your return has closed. What do you mean? You're telling me I can't go back? I worked my ass off for you, diligently fixing the bugs in this world, and now you're telling me I'm stuck here? You've got to be kidding me. Host, it's not entirely impossible for you to return. The system's voice was quieter now, almost hesitant. Because you're still alive, the plot is being affected. The main character's family storyline can't develop, which means this world will continue to stray from its intended path. Spit it out. Fine, I'll go die right now. Before the system could finish its sentence, I scrambled out of bed, rushed to the window, and poised myself to jump. The system shrieked, Host, as long as you help the main characters complete their storyline, you can still go back. You don't have to die. Sophia tossed her laptop aside, rushed over, and yanked me back from the window, throwing me onto the bed. Ethan, who gave you permission to die? Sophia leaned over, pinning me firmly beneath her. Ethan, I don't care why you're trying to kill yourself, but you better knock it off right now. You think you can die without my permission? Not a chance. I was about to kick her off when her words left me stunned. Seriously, what is wrong with Sophia? What are these alpha female CEO lines? It's so cringy, and this position is way too weird. She's my sister. Sophia glanced down at our position, and the tips of her ears turned red. Just as she was about to climb off me, the door swung open. Sis, Leo is... Mia, my youngest sister, burst in and froze, seeing Sophia pinning me down. She immediately charged forward and kicked Sophia clean off me. Damn it, Mia, are you insane? Sophia yelled. Mia ignored her completely, turning to me with a worried expression. Ethan, are you okay? I shook my head. I'm fine. Mia's sparkling eyes are like a kitten's. She's so adorable. If I didn't know the plot, I'd be completely fooled by her act. She's a total wolf in sheep's clothing. In public, she's this cheerful, innocent girl, but in reality, her combat skills are off the charts. At her young age, she's already the leader of the Hawthorne family's secret security force, with plenty of blood on her hands. But even a powerhouse like her is eventually set up by the female lead, Serafina, and dies in a terrorist attack. Leo even breaks up with Serafina over it, leading to some major drama. Poor Mia is just a stepping stone for the main couple's angsty romance. As I thought about this, my expression toward Mia softened with pity. Her own face, however, grew darker. Just as she was about to speak, Sophia walked over, clutching her bruised side, and stopped her. What were you saying about Leo when you came in? Sophia asked. Mia swallowed whatever she was about to say and turned to Sophia. Leo ran away from home. My eyes lit up at the news. Is the plot finally starting? Leo runs away and saves Serafina. Even though Serafina is the female lead, she's completely twisted. She acts purely for revenge, regardless of the consequences, and ends up torturing Leo until his life is ruined, yet he's still devoted to her. In the end, they even get together. I'm actually curious to see what she looks like to have Leo so utterly captivated. I hurried them along. Sophia, Mia, you should go find Leo. Don't worry about me. They both shot me a suspicious glance before leaving my room, one after the other. Sophia, I think I heard. Quiet. Sophia cut her off. Let's just watch and see what happens. Mia fell silent. After getting myself together, I left the mansion alone, completely unaware that Sophia and Mia were tailing me. If I remembered correctly, Serafina was being chased right now. A dagger was about to be thrown at her, and just as it was about to pierce her chest, Leo was supposed to show up, save her, and kick off their romance. The scene was set to happen in a back alley in the Lower East Side. I took a cab there, and the moment I stepped out, a downpour started. I quickly opened the umbrella I was carrying. Good thing I knew it would be pouring when Leo and Serafina first met. I came prepared. Sophia and Mia, who had followed me without an umbrella, were instantly soaked to the bone. The storm's here. That means the female lead is about to be attacked. Leo will happen to pass by and save the day, and they'll fall for each other. I have to get a good spot to watch this classic, dramatic scene from the novel. Hey, you brat! Stop right there! A rough male voice yelled from behind me. A moment later, someone bumped into me, sending my umbrella flying. The man chasing her trampled it into a mangled wreck without a second thought. That was a $10,000 designer umbrella I swiped from Olivia's car, and they just crushed it. I was instantly drenched and freezing. I looked toward the source of the chaos, a young woman running at full speed, who then ducked into a nearby alley. I froze. Is that her? The ridiculously twisted female lead, Serafina, the one who plays twisted games with the main character? I quickly followed, hiding at the mouth of the alley and peeking in to watch the show. Well, you're a fast runner, aren't you? The alley was a dead end, and Serafina was trapped. The dozen or so men cornering her pulled out clubs and knives, looking ready for a fight. If I remember right, these guys chasing Serafina are loan sharks she borrowed from to pay for her dad's medical bills. She originally borrowed $100,000, but with the insane interest, it ballooned to $1 million. How is a 19-year-old girl supposed to pay that back? It's tragic, really. There's a reason she was driven to become so unhinged. Even the most hateful people have a sob story. If she hadn't caused so many deaths later on, I'd actually feel pretty bad for her. Serafina heard a noise and frowned, her gaze flicking to the alley entrance, where she instantly spotted my head peeking around the corner. Shit, was she just looking at me? I thought I was well hidden. There's no way she saw me, right? I quickly ducked back behind the wall. As I did, my eyes caught a glimpse of Leo not far away, helping an old man pack up his fruit stand in the rain. He was calmly picking up fallen oranges and placing them in the back of the man's cart. What is Leo doing? Your soulmate is right there, and you're picking up oranges? Now is not the time to be playing the kind, helpful protagonist. Follow the damn plot. Dude. Leo, of course, couldn't hear my thoughts. He just kept helping the old man, and eventually even pedaled the cart away for him. I watched, wide-eyed, as Leo's figure grew smaller and more blurred by the rain. What the hell? Leo, get back here. He couldn't hear me. He was completely out of earshot. The system's voice piped up weakly. Host, if the plot doesn't proceed as planned, you won't be able to return. I froze for a second, then steeled myself. I pulled a face mask from my pocket and put it on, leaving only my eyes visible. Everybody stop, I yelled, rushing into the alley. Just then, a dagger went flying through the air, aimed straight at Serafina. Cursing under my breath, I moved with surprising speed, covering the distance in a few steps and kicking the dagger away with a roundhouse kick. The sharp blade embedded itself deep in the brick wall. If that had hit Serafina, she'd be half dead at best. What are you, a ghost? One of the thugs asked, startled by my strange appearance. I'm your worst nightmare. You think you can just assault people in front of me? You think the law is a joke? The leader just laughed, trying to act tough. Boys, get him. They all rushed me at once. From the shadows, Mia was about to jump in and help, but Sophia held her back. Ethan's always been unusually strong. He can handle a few thugs. He doesn't need you. Sophia was right. I was freakishly strong. It was the one and only cheat ability the system gave me when I entered this world. I remember complaining about how useless it was at the time, but I quickly learned just how valuable it could be. The thugs came at me aggressively. Serafina's face was grim, and just as she was about to shove me forward to act as a shield, I met them head-on. I threw a left hook, then a right. My technique was a chaotic mess, but every punch landed with brutal force. In a matter of seconds, all of them were on the ground, groaning in pain. I was cackling internally, but my face remained a cold mask as I glanced at the men writhing on the ground. Well, are you going to get lost or not? They scrambled to their feet and practically fell over each other trying to get out of the alley. Thank you, I heard Serafina say as I turned around. I had been so focused on the fight that I hadn't gotten a good look at her. Now that the tension was gone, I finally took a moment to study her. Her skin was pale, making the bloody scratches on her face stand out. Her features were exquisite, and her dark eyes shone with a bright light, like stars trapped within them. A single beauty mark just below one eye gave her an alluring, almost hypnotic quality. Wow, don't let her age fool you. She's got an amazing figure. Time to comfort the homeless, troubled young woman. Gotta establish my character. Serafina stared at the young man before her, the corner of her mouth twitching. What on earth was he talking about? I looked up at her. You're welcome. My name is Leo Vance. It's nice to meet you. Serafina shook my hand politely, smiling as she nodded. Hello, I'm Serafina Frost. Such a shame. A girl this beautiful is actually a twisted psycho. She's into some dark stuff, like choking the main character and watching him beg for mercy with tears in his eyes. Better to keep my distance from her. Hearing my thoughts, Serafina's eyes flickered, and her grip on my hand tightened. Sophia, Mia, what are you two doing here? I'm not going back with you, so stop following me. I panicked when I heard that voice and quickly dropped Serafina's hand. Holy crap, why did Leo circle back? And why are Sophia and Mia here too? Miss, I just remembered I have something urgent to take care of, so I've got to go, I said, keeping my head down as I bolted for the alley entrance. I was pretending to be Leo after all. If Serafina found out I wasn't him, the whole plot would go off the rails. Please don't let them see me, I prayed internally. Suddenly, a hand grabbed my arm. Ethan, I turned to meet Mia's innocent-looking eyes. I tried to pull her hand off. You've got the wrong person. I'm not your brother. But Mia held on tight, her expression deadly serious. I would never mistake you. You're my brother. You're Ethan. Panicked, I glanced back into the alley. It was empty. Serafina was gone. I breathed a sigh of relief. Haha, I can't believe you recognized me. You've got a sharp eye, I said, trying to laugh it off as I removed my mask. Soaked from the rain, I probably looked like a drowned rat. Sophia walked over, her expression cold, and held an umbrella over my head. Ethan, how can you enjoy everything that should have been mine with such a clear conscience? Leo suddenly appeared and slapped the umbrella out of Sophia's hand. The cold rain poured down on me again, making me shiver. I'm the real Hawthorne's son. If it weren't for you, all this wealth, all this affection, it all would have been mine. Now that I'm back, are you still going to compete with me? Leo said, tears streaming down his face as he spoke. If he hadn't been holding an umbrella, you'd think his tears were part of the storm. I was speechless. When the author created Serafina, they must have maxed out her beauty and intelligence stats. But for Leo, they must have maxed out his stupidity and love-crazed foolishness. What a cliché, brain-dead character. It's infuriating. I wasn't about to fall for his victim act. I gave him no quarter. First of all, I was also switched at birth, which makes me a victim too. Second, you're the one who said you didn't want to come back to the Hawthorne family, that you didn't want to be a young master, that you just wanted to be Leo Vance. You're the one who ran away. Have some self-awareness, will you? You want to have your cake and eat it too, demanding respect while also wanting the wealth. Every word out of your mouth reeks of manipulative bullshit. It's nauseating. Leo's face fell at my words. He looked at Sophia, his eyes filled with hurt. Sophia. He said her name with such cloying intimacy that it gave Sophia goosebumps. On one hand, there was me, the brother she'd known for almost 20 years. On the other, her actual biological brother. It was a difficult choice for her. Both of you, stop it. Let's just go home. Mason Croft's birthday party is tonight, and we promised we'd be there. Mason's birthday. I remember at the party, Leo drinks a drugged cocktail and almost sleeps with Serafina's aunt, Chloe Sterling. Chloe is a major power player in New York City. Sophia's breath caught in her throat, and her expression soured. I asked with concern, Sophia, what's wrong? She shook her head. Nothing. We're running late. Let's go. She then turned to Leo, who had started to follow us. You shouldn't come. Leo was confused. Why not? You didn't grow up in this world, Sophia explained. You don't know the rules or the etiquette. It wouldn't be appropriate for you to attend an event like this. She said it casually, but Leo took it personally, as if she were calling him unpresentable. He shot me a look that could kill. I'm the innocent one here. Wasn't Leo supposed to become the family's cherished favorite after I died? This doesn't look like it at all. Back at the Hawthorne mansion, I was halfway through a hot shower when someone knocked on the door. It was Olivia. Here's the suit for you to wear to the party later, she said, holding up a black suit that was both understated and luxurious. This isn't my style at all. Olivia raised an eyebrow. You don't like it? I can have them send over another one. She started to pull out her phone. I stopped her hand and took the suit. No, I love it. It's Mason's birthday party. He's the star of the show. It's better if I wear something more low-key. Olivia put her phone away. All right, I'll wait for you downstairs. Come down when you're ready, and we'll head out together. While I was putting on my socks, my third sister, Isabella, showed up with a watch for me. Then my fourth sister, Ava, came by with a dress shirt. This is weird. Why are they being so attentive today? Shouldn't they be giving all this stuff to Leo? In the study next door, the sisters exchanged glances. Well, did you guys hear anything? Olivia asked, sitting on the sofa with her arms crossed, her expression grave. I heard it. It sounded like Ethan's thoughts, Mia said, breaking the silence. None of the 5 women looked pleased. I didn't hear much, but based on Ethan's strange behavior and what he said about the main character's plot, it seems somewhat credible, Sophia said, recounting the day's events. A collective gasp went through the room. That lines up. Ethan also said that I'm going to be set up by that female lead, Serafina, and die in a terrorist attack, Mia added, blinking. I heard it too, Olivia said, her brow furrowed. He said I would be killed by Leo, left to die on the street. Isabella voiced her skepticism. This is just his side of the story. Maybe Ethan knows he's not our real brother and is just trying to turn us against each other. Ava agreed. Isabella's right, it's a possibility. How could the world we live in be a novel? If that were true, it would mean we're all just fictional characters, that we don't really exist. Sophia's gaze fell on the cup before her. Ethan said that tonight, at Mason Croft's birthday party, Leo will be drugged and almost sleep with Chloe Sterling. Chloe Sterling? From the Sterling family in DC? She's on the other side of the country. Why would she be at Mason's birthday party? And almost sleep with Leo? That's just ridiculous. Isabella found the whole idea preposterous. How could 2 people who have absolutely no connection to each other possibly cross paths? After listening to them for a while, Olivia finally spoke. We'll have Leo come with us. Olivia, no. What if it's true and Leo really does get drugged? Sophia immediately objected. He's still our brother. Even if we didn't grow up with him, we can't let someone take advantage of him like that. If we want to find out if Ethan's thoughts are real, this is the only way, Olivia stated, her tone leaving no room for argument. Leo has to go. When I arrived at the entrance to the ballroom, I immediately spotted Leo, looking elegant in a white suit. He smiled and waved me over. Olivia said I could come along. I don't know how to do my own styling, so Sophia had one of her company's celebrity makeup artists help me out. Ava gave me the suit, and Isabella gave me this watch. He proudly showed off the designer watch on his wrist. His gaze then shifted from my face to my own wrist, and his expression soured instantly when he saw that I was wearing the exact same watch, just in a different color. The corner of my mouth twitched. One in white, one in black, matching our suits. At a glance, anyone who didn't know better would think we were a pair of close brothers. I glanced at my sisters standing nearby and complained internally. You'd think for people born into high society, they'd have some sense of style. Then again, the gifts they've given me my whole life have been things like limited edition RC cars, action figures, and Lego sets. Not exactly the height of aesthetic taste. The 4 style-challenged sisters felt a critical hit. The Croft family was in real estate, and for the party, they had booked out a massive ballroom in the Hamptons, inviting every rich and powerful person of note from New York City. It was Leo's first time at a party like this, and he seemed lost, sticking close to the sisters. That is, until he spotted Mason Croft and walked over to him. Leo seems to know Mason pretty well, Ava remarked, watching the 2 of them laughing together. I took a sip of my champagne and thought to myself, of course they do. To make money, besides working as a temp housekeeper for the Hawthorns, Leo also tutored Mason's 10-year-old brother. They got along pretty well. In fact, it was Leo who gave Mason the idea to drug the drink. At that thought, my gaze fell on Ava with a hint of pity. Originally, that drugged drink was meant for her. Mason had been pursuing Ava for a while and kept getting rejected, so Leo gave him a terrible idea, forced the issue. Who would have thought that by some twist of fate, Leo would end up drinking it himself? I have to admit, the plot is pretty damn twisted. A cold sweat broke out on Ava's back when she heard this. The other sisters couldn't hold back their laughter. Isabella put a hand on Ava's shoulder, a wide grin spreading across her face. So, the drug was meant for you, huh? At that, they all burst into even louder laughter. I looked at them, confused. What's so funny? Olivia shook her head, trying to suppress her smile. It's nothing. From across the room, Mason approached, holding 2 glasses of wine. He was wearing a blue suit and had a smile on his face as he offered a glass to Ava. Ava, long time no see. Ava looked at the glass in his hand and recoiled. Sorry, I don't drink. I had to stifle a laugh from where I was standing. Mason came on way too strong. He even peeked at Ava once while she was in the shower, which left her with some serious trauma. She's terrified of him. If it weren't for not wanting to be rude to his father, she probably wouldn't have even come tonight. The sisters inexplicably burst out laughing again, while Ava's face turned beet red. A flicker of surprise crossed Mason's eyes as he looked at me. You must be Ethan. That's me. Putting that aside, Mason's story is pretty tragic too. He bravely pursues the girl he loves, gets rejected, and then gets nearly mauled to death by a wild animal thanks to his so-called good friend, Leo. If Ava hadn't shown up in time, he would have died, but he lost both his legs in the process. Later, when Ava confesses her love for him, he feels so worthless that he can't accept it and jumps off a building. Ava and Mason both turned to look at me at the exact same time. I was completely lost. What's going on? Is there something on my face? A waiter passed by, and Mason instinctively placed the glass of wine on the tray. I hear you're quite the pianist, Mr. Hawthorne. I wonder if I might have the honor of hearing you play. Of course, I replied, and walked directly to the grand piano in the corner. As I slowly pressed the keys, a beautiful melody filled the air, hushing the entire ballroom. Seeing me in the spotlight, Leo grew agitated, downed his drink in one gulp, and stormed out. Olivia noticed and gestured to Isabella, and the 2 of them followed him. On the second-floor balcony overlooking the ballroom, a woman in a black evening gown sat in the shadows. Her gaze swept coolly over me below, her eyes narrowing slightly. She beckoned to a nearby waiter, took a glass of wine from his tray, and slowly rose to her feet. When the music ended, the room erupted in applause. Some people in the crowd recognized me. Isn't that the Hawthorne's fake son? What's he doing here? Not only that, I saw the real son earlier. This party is definitely going to be dramatic tonight. The last time I saw them, they were staging that whole jumping off a yacht drama. As I watched the audience applaud, I felt a secret thrill. After all these years of practicing piano as the fake son, I wonder if I'll be a piano virtuoso when I get back to the real world. Maybe I won't have to work that dead-end job anymore. I was fantasizing about a future of worldwide concert tours as I stepped down from the stage, and in my distraction, I twisted my ankle. Just as I was about to fall, Mia shot forward and caught me. Ethan, are you okay? She asked. Mason rushed over, looking concerned. That looks badly swollen. Let's get you to a lounge. I'll go find a doctor. Mia then used all her strength to help me up to a private room on the second floor. It's nice having a sister who's such a die-hard fan. She's so soft and supportive. It's really comforting. Mia's face suddenly flushed, and she started walking a little faster. Seeing her blush, I asked curiously, Mia, why is your face so red? A blushing little sister is just too cute. Mia's face turned an even deeper shade of red. It's probably just hot in here. I'll go see if the doctor is here yet. She turned and practically fled, stumbling as she went. She closed the door behind her, leaving me alone in the room. Around this time, Leo should be getting together with Chloe. Hearing the thought, the woman in the room frowned and opened her eyes, her gaze landing on my back. The lights were off, and the only illumination came from the moonlight streaming through the window. Even though Chloe is Serafina's aunt, she's the one who suffers the most tragic fate. To test if Serafina still loves him, Leo agrees to marry Chloe, which makes Serafina hate her aunt with a burning passion. After Serafina takes over the family's power, she locks Chloe in a basement and tortures her day and night, refusing to let her die. It's an absolutely brutal end. Suddenly, a hand clamped down on my shoulder from behind and yanked me downward. I stumbled backward, falling onto a bed and looking up into a pair of deep, intense eyes. Startled, I grabbed the woman's shoulders and flipped her over me, slamming her hard onto the floor. The woman landed hard on her back, the impact so jarring it brought tears to her eyes. I flicked on the room's light switch and, seeing a small dumbbell on a nearby table, grabbed it and threw it at her. Luckily, she reacted in time and dodged it. I stared at the woman warily. Who the hell are you? Why are you in here? She frowned, her brow furrowed. I should be asking you the same thing. Didn't you see the private sign on the door? I was speechless. Mia had been the one to bring me in here, and I hadn't noticed any sign. Realizing I was in the wrong, I lowered my head and tried to figure out how to escape this mess. Everyone at this party is rich and powerful. This woman has her own private lounge, so she must be a big deal. Even though I'm still technically a Hawthorne, I'm just the fake son. If I piss off someone important, the family definitely won't back me up. Looks like I'll have to get myself out of this one. My eyes darted around as my mind raced. Actually, I'm part of the cleaning staff here, I said. I was just checking to see if you needed anything, ma'am. The woman looked me up and down, her eyes filled with suspicion. I wasn't aware the cleaning staff wore designer suits. Is that the new uniform, or just your boss's new kink? I said in a low voice, you may be beautiful, but this is sexual harassment. I could call the police right now. Her smile vanished. As she tried to stand up, her foot slipped on a pillow on the floor, and she stumbled forward, falling on top of me and pinning me to the bed. I felt a soft pressure on my cheek. She froze for a second, then realized she had accidentally kissed me. What the hell? How did this cliché drama scene happen to me? Get off me, you creep. Before I could push her off, the woman scrambled up on her own. But from that brief contact, she could already feel a change in her body. A feverish heat was spreading from within, and she began to tremble. I quickly tried to get up and leave, but she grabbed me and pinned me against the wall in a very compromising position. I saw that her face was flushed, her breathing was ragged, and the way she was looking at me was definitely not normal. My eyes widened as a thought struck me. Holy shit, did she drink the cocktail Mason had drugged? Wasn't Leo supposed to be the one who drank that by mistake? Ma'am, you need to calm down. Just then, we heard footsteps approaching outside. Afraid of being discovered, the woman quickly reached over and locked the door. Oh my God, I've been single for over 20 years. I can't lose my innocence like this. Even though she's gorgeous, I'm not that kind of guy. I was so flustered that I completely forgot I was a man and could have easily pushed her away. The woman was doing her best to fight it, to suppress the fire raging inside her. I don't know if it was some kind of sibling telepathy, but just then, Mia kicked the door clean off its hinges from the outside. I stared, completely dumbfounded. Holy Mother of God, Mia's destructive power is on par with a small explosive charge. Mia was at my side in an instant, grabbing my shoulders and looking me over. Ethan, are you okay? Who was bothering you? I pointed, but the room was now empty. Damn, she's fast. Mia and I rushed to the open window and looked down just in time to see a black Maybach speeding off into the night. Mia quickly snapped a photo of the license plate with her phone and sent it to someone to run a check. She stared after the car as it disappeared into the darkness, her eyes glinting ominously. The driver kept glancing at the woman in the back through the rearview mirror. Miss Sterling, are you all right? Chloe rested her head against the cool glass of the window. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Just take me back to the hotel. If she hadn't been so quick, she would have been caught. Chloe stumbled back to her hotel room and went straight for the bathroom, where she took a long, cold shower to quell the feverish heat that was still coursing through her. Once her head had cleared a bit, she picked up her phone and made a call. The woman on the other end of the line teased, Miss Sterling, shouldn't you be out in the Hamptons looking for Mr. Wright? What gives you the time to call me? Chloe turned off the shower, her eyes dark. Cut the crap and run a background check on someone for me. At that, the person on the other end got even more excited. Did you really find him? You're Mr. Wright, Chloe snapped. Enough with the nonsense. Ethan Hawthorne of the Hawthorne family. I want his complete file in 30 minutes. The doctor rubbed some liniment on my badly swollen ankle, and the pain made my face contort. Mr. Hawthorne, remember to ice this when you get home to reduce the swelling. It's best if you stay off it for the next couple of days, or it will only get worse. The doctor had barely finished speaking when Mia wheeled a wheelchair into the room. It's okay, Ethan. From now on, I'll push you wherever you need to go. I looked at her dead serious expression, and my mouth twitched. Mia, I just sprained my ankle. I'm not disabled. I don't need a wheelchair. But Mia wouldn't hear of it. No, you're staying in this wheelchair until your foot is completely healed. I sighed, looking at her helplessly. My sister is great in every way, except she's a little too obsessive. Once she sets her mind to something, she never backs down. She's so good to me, it almost makes me not want to leave this world. Mia's eyes flickered. Then don't go, she said softly. Her words caught me off guard, and I stared at her for a moment, stunned. It's nothing. The dance is about to start. I'll take you down, Mia said, lowering her head as she pushed my wheelchair toward the elevator. The high society guests we passed looked at me with pity, clearly thinking I was a young man with a permanent disability. Their stares made me uncomfortable. I looked up at Mia. Why is it just you? Where are the others? Olivia and Isabella had to take care of something, and Sophia is in a meeting with the Lockwood Corporation. As for Ava, her gaze drifted toward the dance floor. I followed her gaze to the center of the dance floor, where a handsome couple was dancing. The man was smiling warmly, but the woman looked reluctant. It was Ava and Mason. I watched them with great interest. Don't be fooled by Ava's reluctance now. Later on, she becomes completely crazy for love. A loud crash snapped me out of my thoughts. I looked toward the sound and saw a slender woman go flying, kicked by my sister Isabella, and land in a heap in the middle of the dance floor. Seeing this, Ava instinctively moved to shield Mason. Mason froze for a second, his gaze landing on Ava's profile, a hint of a smile in his eyes. You dare hit me? Do you have any idea who my mother is? She's the chairwoman of the Lockwood Corporation, and I'm her daughter. You hit me, and I'll have my mother destroy you. I'll make sure you can never work in this city again. I'll have you thrown in jail for the rest of your life. Isabella cracked her neck from side to side. Ruin my life forever? I'd like to see the Lockwood family try. The words were barely out of her mouth when a hand slapped her across the face. You insolent girl, are you trying to start a war? Mr. Lockwood's face was beet red with fury, his bloodshot eyes glaring at his reckless, foul-mouthed youngest daughter. Seeing her father, the young woman forgot all about the stinging pain in her cheek and pointed at Isabella, screaming, Dad, you have to get her back for me. She hit me. No one's ever hit me like that before, except you. I want her reputation destroyed. Mr. Lockwood glanced at Isabella, then, furious, slapped his daughter across her other cheek. Are you drunk? Open your eyes and look who you're talking to. That's Isabella Hawthorne, the third daughter of the Hawthorne family. If she hits you, you take it. What more is there to say? With that, he shoved his daughter aside and walked toward Isabella, a forced, apologetic smile on his face. Miss Hawthorne, please, be the bigger person. My wife has spoiled our youngest daughter rotten. She's reckless and has offended you. I sincerely apologize. Is an apology supposed to be enough? Olivia's voice cut in as she emerged, supporting a very frail-looking Leo, who was leaning heavily on her shoulder. Perhaps you'd like to hear exactly how your daughter provoked my sister. Mr. Lockwood glared at his daughter, who was still on the floor. What exactly happened? The dazed young woman mumbled, I just wanted to make friends with that young man. Isabella sneered at that. You call that making friends? You were all over him, touching him, and you even said, Hey handsome, are you not looking at me because I'm too beautiful for you? Isabella's imitation was spot on. The scene was supposed to be tense, but I couldn't help but laugh, as expected of a Hollywood actress. She can turn on the drama at a moment's notice. Isabella's mouth twitched slightly at my thought, and she turned her glare back to the woman on the floor. If I hadn't gotten there when I did, who knows what else you would have tried to do? Is what Miss Hawthorne said true? Mr. Lockwood demanded, kicking his daughter lightly. I was just hitting on a cute guy. Is that a crime? It's not a crime, Isabella retorted. But he's my brother, and when you mess with my brother, you've got a problem with me. The crowd erupted in murmurs. So that's the real Hawthorne heir. The Lockwoods really picked the wrong family to mess with. The Hawthornes' influence in New York is immense. The sisters are all brilliant and have connections in every sector. After this, the Lockwoods are finished in this city. Sophia stepped forward as well. Mr. Lockwood, I believe it would be best if we terminated our recent partnership. Mr. Lockwood, who had just spent months securing that deal with Sophia, went pale. He yanked his daughter to her feet and forced her into a bow. Miss Hawthorne, we are so sorry. We were blind to have offended you. Hearing the apology, Leo finally peeked out from behind Olivia. Olivia, since they've apologized, maybe we should just let it go. It looks like things aren't easy for their family. At that, I completely lost it. I had to lower my head to hide my laughter, my shoulders shaking uncontrollably. I can't take it anymore. Author, you're heartless. What kind of holier-than-thou, saintly persona did you give this main character? I was still chuckling when I looked up and found all the sisters and Mason staring directly at me. Wait, why are they all looking at me like that? Was I laughing too loud? Just then, Sophia stepped forward. No one gets to bully a Hawthorne and get away with it. Seeing this, Mason's father, Mr. Croft, discreetly signaled to the security guards. The guards understood immediately and moved in to escort the Lockwoods out. It's over. It's all over, Mr. Lockwood wailed as he was being led out. I worked so hard to get to this point, and you worthless girl, you've ruined everything. My sincerest apologies, Mr. Croft said, approaching Leo with a glass of wine. It was my poor judgment to invite such people. I'm sorry that the young Mr. Hawthorne was frightened at my son's party. Leo's gaze met his and Mr. Croft started. He hadn't noticed before, but now he realized the young man with Olivia wasn't me, but Leo. Seeing Mr. Croft's discomfort, Leo turned his head away, clearly showing that something was amiss between them. Olivia asked, feigning ignorance. Mr. Croft, do you know my brother? Mr. Croft quickly explained. Mr. Vance tutors my youngest son. Oh, I see, Olivia replied. This brother of ours was only recently found. He's been through a lot. He's had a very difficult life. At the mention of this, the sisters once again felt a pang of guilt toward Leo. I watched the heartwarming scene unfold, feeling a wave of emotion. Even though I didn't manage to die, at least Leo is making some progress. He's making the sisters feel pity and guilt, which means the family relationship storyline is getting back on track. I might be able to go home soon after all. Leo was clearly shaken and in no condition to stay at the party. Olivia exchanged a few more words with Mr. Croft and then prepared to take Leo home. By the way, Mr. Croft, she added, my third sister's profession is a bit public. I hope what happened here tonight can be kept discreet. Mr. Croft nodded knowingly. Of course, a public figure. As they passed Mason, Leo felt his gaze and said guiltily, Mason, I'm so sorry for ruining your birthday party. Mason smiled at him, but it was a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Don't worry about it. It's just a small party. Besides, you've helped me so much, haven't you? He put a strange emphasis on the word helped. Others might not have noticed, but Ava did. She shot Mason a strange look. Ethan, let's go, Mia said from behind me, pushing my wheelchair as we left. Back at the Hawthorne mansion, the lights in the living room were on. They had just stepped inside when they heard Mrs. Hawthorne's voice. Oh, Leo, darling, your father and I were just on a business trip in the next state. Why did you run away? Don't you like it here? Did we do something wrong? You can tell me, sweetheart. I'll fix it. Mrs. Hawthorne pulled Leo into a tight hug. He flinched, clearly unaccustomed to such physical affection. Olivia stepped in. Mom, you're scaring him. I'm just so excited to have you back. By the way, I heard you all went to Mason Croft's birthday party. Why are you home so early? At that, Isabella angrily recounted the entire evening's events. Hearing that her biological son had been bullied, Mrs. Hawthorne immediately looked him over from head to toe, only relaxing when she was sure he was unharmed. Then her brow furrowed. That Lockwood girl, I know of her. She's a good-for-nothing troublemaker. Sophia, didn't you just start a project with the Lockwood Corporation? Sophia quickly clarified, we had one joint venture, but we will have no further business with their company. Good, Mrs. Hawthorne said firmly. Scum like that don't deserve success. I'll make a few calls. The Lockwood's time in New York is over. Well, let's not stand here talking in the doorway. Come in, come in. I cooked a huge dinner myself tonight, Mrs. Hawthorne said, happily pulling Leo further into the house. I stood in the foyer watching the cozy family scene. Still, after 10 years of being their brother, it stings to watch them transfer all their affection to someone else. I used to be so moody and unpredictable, acting out and taking advantage of my position as a Hawthorne, but my sisters always put up with me. Now that they have a well-behaved, understanding, and real brother, they'll probably dote on him even more. Mrs. Hawthorne already thinks I'm a lost cause and is incredibly strict with me, but she's so gentle with Leo. And seriously, I'm a grown man sitting in a wheelchair right here. Am I invisible? My presence in this family is practically zero. I grumbled to myself. The four sisters, who had been on their way to the dining room, all stopped in their tracks. They turned in unison to look at me, their expressions complicated. Olivia was the first to speak. Mia, bring him in for dinner. Hearing this, Mia happily wheeled me into the dining room. Ethan, you're not an outsider in this family. Come eat, you're too thin, Mrs. Hawthorne's voice called out. A moment later, Leo's plate was piled high with food. Mom, I can't eat all this, Leo said, shooting a provocative glance in my direction. I just rolled my eyes and focused on my own plate, completely unfazed. Mom, I think Ethan's been a little unhappy since I came back, Leo said, determined not to let me fade into the background. My presence was already minimal, but he had to drag me into the spotlight, as if afraid I'd be forgotten. Mr. and Mrs. Hawthorne's gazes finally landed on me, and for a moment, they both looked surprised to see me. Oh, I didn't even notice Ethan was here, Mrs. Hawthorne said. It was only then that she saw the wheelchair. A flicker of concern crossed her face. Ethan, what happened to your leg? Why are you in a wheelchair? Maybe it's because in the original plot I'm already dead, so I have no place in this family anymore. That's why they keep overlooking me. I kept my head down and said with a hint of bitterness, it's nothing, I just sprained my ankle. Well, it should be fine after a couple of days of rest, Mrs. Hawthorne said dismissively. After that, I was once again invisible at the dinner table as everyone focused their attention on Leo. I just kept eating, until Sophia, sitting across from me, placed a large piece of pork on my plate. Don't just eat vegetables. Eat this. Good for your bones. I was actually a little touched that you, the grumpiest of them all, were giving me food. But now I'm just speechless. You're the one who's being a pig. Sophia's mouth twitched. The other sisters, hearing my thought, couldn't help but chuckle. What's so funny? Leo asked, looking curious. Olivia stifled her laugh and waved her hand. It's nothing. Let's just eat. Meanwhile, at the Sterling Hotel, I've got the information you wanted. Ethan Hawthorne is the son of the New York Hawthornes, but rumor has it they found out a few days ago that he's not their biological child. The real son is a guy named Leo Vance. I'm sending you the full file now. Chloe's gaze fell on my photo in the file, then moved down to the education section. Ethan Hawthorne, NYU, Horology and Watch Design. Leo's room was next to mine. According to the original plot, my room would have become his after I died. But since I was still alive, he had to settle for the guest room next door, which Mrs. Hawthorne had nevertheless decorated lavishly for him. As I hopped past his door, Leo came out and leaned against the frame, staring at me with his chin held high in arrogance. Ethan, if I were you, I'd be too ashamed to keep living in this house. He made no effort to hide his contempt for me. I just smiled, feigning confusion. The Hawthornes are rich and powerful. They give me $100,000 a month in allowance, and my room is twice the size of yours. Officially, my last name is still Hawthorne, which makes me a Hawthorne heir. Why would I leave? Leo was furious. How can you be so shameless? Sorry, I said. I've always been shameless. Seeing him so angry put me in a great mood, and I happily hopped past him and back into my room. Leo snorted and slammed his door shut. A moment later, my sisters emerged from the shadows, staring at the two closed doors. You know, besides being a bit spoiled, Ethan isn't a bad person at heart, Ava said, a hint of pity in her voice. Are we neglecting him too much because of Leo? Don't forget how Ethan used to bully Leo, Isabella retorted. Sophia agreed. Leo is our real brother. He suffered so much out there. We should be good to him. Ethan has lived a life of luxury in our home. He knows we've been good to him. There's no reason for us to feel guilty. But Ethan craves our affection too, Mia interjected, not wanting to see me hurt. And don't forget, his thoughts mentioned that Leo will be the cause of our family's ruin and our deaths. Olivia and I followed Leo, and we never saw Chloe Sterling. In fact, that Lockwood girl almost assaulted him. That proves Ethan's thoughts can't be trusted, Isabella argued. Still, she added, a small smile playing on her lips, having two brothers isn't necessarily a bad thing. I felt sick from being out in the rain, so after a quick wash, I collapsed into bed and fell asleep. I woke up in the middle of the night, my body aching all over. I wanted to get up and take my temperature, but I didn't have the strength, so I just lay there, stiff and miserable until morning. My head was throbbing and foggy. Seeing the daylight outside, I groggily managed to get up and find a thermometer. 103.2 degrees. A high fever. It must have been from the rain yesterday. I changed my clothes and limped downstairs. The only person there was the housekeeper. Good morning, young master. Would you like some breakfast? Even though I was the fake son, I still lived here, so the staff didn't dare disrespect me. No, thank you. Where is everyone? I asked casually. The housekeeper cleared her throat and said pointedly, the master and madam have taken young Mr. Vance to have his birth certificate officially amended. I paused in the middle of putting on my shoes. They're moving fast. The housekeeper seemed surprised by my calm reaction. She was probably expecting me to throw a fit like I used to whenever things didn't go my way. Well, I'm the fake son now. I don't have the right to be arrogant anymore. Working in a wealthy household, she was perceptive enough to know that I had fallen from grace. So, when I headed out the door, she didn't even ask where I was going. I took a cab to Mount Sinai Hospital. After an examination, the doctor prescribed some medication and put me on an 4-drip. I was so out of it from the fever that I barely felt the needle go in. I leaned against the wall, my eyes half closed, when I suddenly heard someone nearby yelp in pain. The voice sounded familiar. I opened my eyes and saw that the door to the room across the hall was ajar. Through the opening, I could see Chloe Sterling's beautiful, worried face, her brow furrowed in distress. My eyes shot open. The pervert. I don't know if it was just my imagination, but I think she heard me, because her eyes immediately flicked in my direction. Quickly looked down. She can't see me. The nurse came out after giving Chloe her shot, muttering to herself, I don't know why she's so scared of a little needle. The young man across the hall didn't even flinch. I didn't dare look up, afraid of the awkwardness if she recognized me. Suddenly, a pair of polished, expensive-looking high heels stopped in front of me. Mr. Janitor, Chloe's amused voice said from above me. We meet again. I knew she'd recognize me. I forced an awkward smile. What a coincidence, ma'am. You're sick too. She's not sick. She's worried about the side effects of that drug drink. Why else would someone with a fear of needles be getting a shot? Still, it's a hell of a coincidence running into her here. Yes, she said, sitting down next to me and fixing me with a playful, teasing stare. You assaulted me last night. I'm seriously injured. I didn't dare to say anything, and the atmosphere grew tense. The silence was broken when a nurse called out, Chloe Sterling, your prescription is ready. Remember to take it on schedule. Hearing the name, I froze for a second, then a realization hit me, and I whipped my head around to look at the woman beside me. She's Chloe Sterling? The woman from last night was Chloe? But then Leo wasn't with her. How did the plot go off track again? This is a complete mess. System, get out here. What the hell is going on? I looked calm on the outside, but inside, I was starting to panic. Chloe raised an eyebrow. A system? This kid has a system? The system responded to my call. Host, the very fact that you're still alive means the plot has deviated. That's why I'm telling you to work hard to push the main character's development forward and get the story back on track. Time is short and the mission is critical. I believe in you, host. And with that, the system went silent again, ignoring my frantic calls. Damn it, I cursed internally, only to find myself meeting Chloe's gaze. I wasn't calling you damn it, I quickly explained. Chloe is the second biggest psycho in this story, right after Serafina. To claw her way to the top of her family's empire, she did some terrible things, including orchestrating the car accident that left her own sister paralyzed and bedridden. She took over the family business in her early 20s. Her methods are ruthless. If I get on her bad side, I'm finished. Chloe's gaze on me was filled with a strange mix of curiosity and longing. It sent a shiver down my spine. Why are you staring at me? No reason. Just admiring how handsome you are, she said. Seeing my fear seemed to amuse her, and a small smile played on her lips. She's calling me handsome? Don't tell me she's fallen for me at first sight. As if I'd uncovered some terrible secret, I scooted a few feet away from her. The smile on Chloe's face froze. We sat in silence for what felt like an eternity until my bag was finally empty. The second the nurse removed the needle, I shot up, ready to get away from this whole situation. Chloe stood up and followed me. Murder! The doctor is a murderer! Someone screamed, and a crowd quickly formed. I was about to walk around it, but then I caught a glimpse of my eldest sister, Olivia, in the middle of the commotion. A man was grabbing her arm and screaming in her face. This is the doctor who killed my wife. It was her. I want you to pay with your life. Sir, please calm down, another doctor next to Olivia said, trying to pull the man's hand off her arm. We're on our way to an emergency surgery right now. If you have a problem, you can discuss it after Dr. Hawthorne is out of the operating room. This only seemed to enrage the man further. I don't care. I want an explanation right now. I brought my wife all the way to New York for this surgery, and she died on your table. How am I supposed to go on? You're a murderer. He glared at Olivia and raised his fist to strike her. Olivia could have dodged that, but she just stood there and took the punch. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth, but she didn't even make a sound. Seeing the scene unfold, I quickly scanned my memory for this part of the plot. I remember now. This man's wife had severe heart failure. Their local hospital didn't have the equipment or expertise for the surgery, so they came all the way to New York specifically for Olivia. But during the operation, the patient had a sudden brain hemorrhage, and despite working all night, the surgeons couldn't save her. Olivia felt guilty about it for a long time. In a minute, Leo is going to show up and take a knife for Olivia, which will rapidly strengthen their sibling bond. Olivia's ear twitched, and her gaze shifted to where I stood on the edge of the crowd. She pressed her lips together, her expression unreadable. This is a hospital. My sister is a doctor who saves lives. How could she possibly be a murderer? I heard Leo's voice before I saw him. He pushed his way through the crowd and stood protectively in front of Olivia. He was a good half-foot shorter than the man, but he tilted his head back and stared him down with wide, righteous eyes. Olivia was surprised to see Leo, and she remembered my thought about him taking a knife for her. Leo, what are you doing here? Olivia, I know you didn't kill anyone. There must be a misunderstanding. Don't worry, I've already called the police. I won't let him hurt you. I squinted, craning my neck to get a better view of the drama. But the crowd was packed so tightly that I couldn't see the main character's big heroic moment. With my injured ankle, I looked ridiculous trying to stand on my tiptoes. Chloe saw me and couldn't help but smile. You killed my wife. I'll make you pay, the man screamed, pulling a small knife from his pocket and lunging at Olivia. He had originally brought the knife for himself, but hearing Leo say the police were on their way, he decided to go for broke and take her down with him. Hearing the commotion, I didn't care that Chloe was still with me. I just stared, my heart pounding. Olivia, having anticipated the knife, immediately shoved Leo out of the way to protect him. "Olivia, look out!" But even though she had pushed him a good 10 feet away, Leo rushed back just as the knife came down, throwing his arms around Olivia. The blade sank deep into his right side, and blood instantly blossomed across his white suit, a shocking splash of red. Mr. and Mrs. Hawthorne arrived just in time to witness the horrific scene. "Leo!" Mrs. Hawthorne screamed, shoving aside the stunned man who had just stabbed her son. She was heartbroken at the sight of the blood pouring from his wound. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to," the man stammered, staring at the bloody knife in his hand in a state of shock. He didn't know what had just happened. His mind was a complete blank. Watching this, I once again marveled at the power of the main character's plot armor. If that knife had been just an inch to the side, it would have hit his kidney. Olivia, who had been terrified for Leo, let out a small sigh of relief when she heard my thought. The police arrived quickly and took the assailant into custody. Leo was rushed into surgery. Outside the operating room, Mrs. Hawthorne cried in her husband's arms. "We just got him back, and now he's been so badly hurt. It's all my fault. I'm the one who insisted he come for a checkup today." Mr. Hawthorne's brow was furrowed with worry, but he gently patted his wife's back and tried to comfort her. "He'll be all right, darling. Leo will be fine." Olivia leaned against the wall, listening to her parents and staring down at the dried blood on her hands, a complex mix of emotions swirling inside her. She had known it was coming. She had been prepared. She had even pushed Leo out of the way, so why did he still jump in front of her to take that knife? "Mom, Dad, Olivia, how is he?" Sophia rushed in, looking disheveled, a few strands of her perfectly styled hair falling across her forehead. She had been in a business meeting nearby and had come running the moment she heard what had happened to Leo. Olivia shook her head. "He's still in surgery. We don't know anything yet." Meanwhile, I had picked up my prescription from the pharmacy and was leaving the hospital, but Chloe was still following me. Why does she keep following me? I thought, glancing back at her in confusion. She was just a few feet behind me, silent, which was starting to creep me out. The bus arrived, and I limped aboard, paid my fare, and found an empty seat. I still have a decent amount of savings, but I'm not a Hawthorne heir anymore. Leo is. I need to start being more frugal, especially with college expenses coming up. I had just sat down when I saw Chloe get on the bus behind me. She fumbled in her purse for a moment, but couldn't find her phone or any cash, only a credit card. "Lady, can you hurry it up? I need to get on," an older woman behind her grumbled. Chloe's gaze immediately fell on me. I quickly turned my head and stared out the window. "She can't see me. Ethan, I don't have my phone or any cash," she said. I'm speechless. How does she know my name? She actually ran a background check on me. What a psycho. I don't want to get involved with this woman. Who knows how I'll end up dead. Besides, she's supposed to be obsessed with Leo, not me. Seeing that I was ignoring her, and hearing my internal insults, Chloe felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. With the people behind her getting impatient, she was about to get off the bus. But then the woman behind her decided to play matchmaker. "Young man, you can fight with your girlfriend on your own time, but don't hold up the rest of us, okay? I'm in a hurry to get home and make lunch for my grandson. It's just a couple of bucks. Just pay for your girlfriend." Another passenger chimed in. "Yeah, whatever your problem is, sort it out at home. Don't waste everyone's time." The more they chimed in, the bigger my headache grew. Finally, I couldn't stand it anymore. I got up, paid Chloe's fare, and shot a look at the older woman. "Ma'am, I'm not her boyfriend. Just consider it a donation to charity." But the second I paid, the old woman swooped in and took my seat. She placed her grocery basket at her feet and smiled up at me. "Sorry, young man. I'm old, and my legs aren't what they used to be." By now, there were no empty seats left on the bus. My ankle was throbbing, I was dizzy from my fever, and the ride home was over an hour. There was no way I could stand for that long. "Ma'am," my boyfriend was sitting there. "Have you no shame?" Chloe's voice cut in before I could say a word. The woman was taken aback by her harsh tone. "Who are you calling shameless? Don't you know you're supposed to respect your elders? Besides, the young man said he doesn't even know you, so why are you butting in? We just had a fight, that's all," Chloe said, casually draping her arm around my shoulders. I tried to pull away, but she just held on tighter. The woman's face turned red with anger. "I don't care. I sat down first, so the seat is mine." "Well, that's certainly classless of you," Chloe said. looking at the woman with open disgust. I couldn't help but laugh. What did I do to deserve this? A powerful CEO arguing with an old lady over a bus seat. The other passengers started murmuring and pointing at the woman, clearly disapproving of her actions. Embarrassed, the woman finally stood up, grabbing her grocery basket. I quickly sat down, and the relief to my injured ankle was immediate. I leaned over to Chloe and whispered, "Thanks. This Chloe isn't much like the one in the book. She's actually pretty helpful." Hearing my thought, Chloe's lips curved into a small smile. "You're welcome. Consider it repayment for the bus fare." The bus pulled up to the next stop, and a huge crowd of people got on, quickly filling the bus to capacity. Chloe looked uncomfortable in the crowd, trying to avoid touching anyone, and she shuffled closer to me. As the bus pulled away from the curb, I was scrolling through iMessages on my phone and didn't notice we were turning. The bus lurched, and my head tilted to the side, landing squarely on Chloe's soft chest. So soft and bouncy. Is this what heaven feels like? Leo is one lucky guy. Serafina is beautiful, sure, but she's missing something. A powerful, intelligent, and dominant woman like Chloe is way more exciting. I bet she's amazing in bed. If I were the main character, I'd choose Chloe, hands down. She had followed me all this way to hear what I knew about her supposedly tragic fate, but she never expected to hear such explicit thoughts. The shot had brought my fever down, but I was still dizzy, and a few minutes later, I fell asleep leaning against the window. Chloe looked down at me, her gaze falling on my phone screen, which was still lit up, open to a job search app. When I woke up later, Chloe was gone. My stop was approaching, so I didn't think much about when she had left. It wasn't like we'd ever see each other again. When I got back to the mansion, only Mia was there. Her face was covered in small bandages, probably from her training. She turned her head at the sound of my arrival. "Ethan, why didn't you tell me you were going out? Your ankle is still swollen." The moment she saw me, she dropped what she was doing and rushed over to help me. "It's just a sprain, I'm fine." Leo, on the other hand, got stabbed and is in surgery. "You silly girl, why are you always so worried about me? You should be trying to get on Leo's good side. If you don't, you'll die even sooner." Mia's brow furrowed at my thought, and her gaze fell to the bag of medication in my hand. A look of concern filled her eyes. "Why do you have medicine? What's wrong? I'll take you to a doctor." "It's fine," I said. "It's just a fever. I already got a shot." Mia looked alarmed. "A fever? That's serious." In this entire fictional world, Mia is the only one who truly cares about me. When I first arrived here, I was living at the Hawthorne estate, completely lost and confused. All I wanted was to go home, so one night, I ran off into the mountains behind the estate. The Hawthorns are so powerful because they have their hands in everything, and that mountain is where they secretly train their elite security force. Mia grew up there. That day, she was being hazed by some of the other trainees and was on the verge of death. I was the one who saved her, and that's why she's been so fiercely loyal to me ever since. Mia, on the other hand, looked guilt-ridden. "Why didn't you tell me? This is serious. If you had just called, I would have come right back and taken you to the hospital. You shouldn't have had to go get a shot and medicine all by yourself. I'll be sure to tell you next time, okay? I promised." Mia looked displeased. "There shouldn't be a next time for getting sick." Just then, Sophia walked in. "Maria, make some chicken soup. I'm taking it to the hospital for Leo," Sophia said as she entered. Then she saw Mia. "Leo's been hurt. You're coming with me to the hospital to see him." I couldn't help but roll my eyes. You can tell right away who she really cares about. Sophia didn't even notice the medicine in my hand, let alone the fact that I'm standing right here. We've been brother and sisters for 10 years. Even if we weren't that close, I genuinely thought of them as my family. Sophia stopped in her tracks, her gaze landing awkwardly on my face. "Why do you have medicine? Are you sick?" I was taken aback for a second, then replied sarcastically, "I was bored out of my mind, so I thought I'd take some medicine to spice things up." I had just finished my medicine when Sophia and Mia decided to drag me along with them to the hospital. "I don't need to be there this early for my next shot," I protested. "We're taking you to see Leo," Sophia said as she drove. "He's badly hurt. You should be there." "Who am I to him? His injury has nothing to do with me." Sophia's mouth twitched. "If you want to keep living in this house, you should know that you need to get along with Leo. If he's willing to forgive you for how you treated him before, you two could be like real brothers. The Hawthorne family can certainly afford to support you." "I couldn't care less," I muttered. Sophia fell silent, her good intentions clearly unappreciated. Leo's surgery went well. The knife hadn't hit his kidney, and the wound wasn't too deep. He just needed a few stitches. The doctor said he'd be fully recovered after a month of rest. Mrs. Hawthorne breathed a sigh of relief, looking at Leo with a pained expression. My poor baby. You've suffered so much. It's okay, Mom, Leo said, his face pale as he forced a weak smile. Olivia is a doctor. She has to save lives. If she had been the one to get hurt, how many patients would have been affected? It was worth it. You're such a good boy, Mrs. Hawthorne said, her heart aching. By the way, the doctor said you can have some chicken soup. You must be hungry. She then looked at me. Ethan, bring the soup over here. I walked over with the thermos of soup and unscrewed the lid for him. I was about to set it on the table when Leo suddenly reached for it. As he took it, his hand trembled, and the hot soup spilled all over my hand. A second later, Leo played the victim, his face a mask of hurt. Ethan, I know you don't like me, but you didn't have to pour the soup all over my blanket on purpose. Mrs. Hawthorne frowned at me, about to scold me, when Mia rushed over and grabbed my reddened hand. Ethan, does it hurt? It's fine, I said, exasperated. This guy is such a manipulative jerk. He's the one who insisted on grabbing it, and now my hand is killing me. Mia looked at me with concern and pulled me toward the sink to run my hand under cold water. I'll go get a doctor. Sophia also went to find a doctor. Leo had clearly intended to use this to make the sisters hate me, but he hadn't expected them all to be so concerned. He couldn't help but look at me with a flash of jealousy. He's the real Hawthorne son, their real brother. Why am I the one they're all doting on? The doctor came in quickly to check my hand. It's not a serious burn. You rinsed it in time. Just apply some of this ointment, and it will be fine. What a run of bad luck. A fever and now a burn. It's like this world really doesn't want a dead man walking around. I grumbled to myself, then glanced back at Leo in his hospital bed. Speaking of this hospital incident, Olivia is deeply affected by it. While she's alone on the roof, contemplating her life, she's supposed to meet her one true love. Around now, she should be up there, talking a suicidal young man off the ledge and saving him. That guy is her first love in this novel, but it's a shame he dies so tragically. Their story is really heartbreaking. Olivia has always been completely dedicated to her career. She's almost 30 and has never been in a serious relationship. I thought she'd sworn off love, but it turns out she does find someone. As I headed for the rooftop, Isabella and Mia followed me. Leo watched the three of us leave, a bitter feeling in his heart. Mom, he said quietly, I don't think my sisters like me very much. Mrs. Hawthorne stroked his head. How could that be, sweetheart? You're so well-behaved and understanding. Of course your sisters will love you. Leo didn't say anything, just stared at the doorway, his eyes welling up with tears. Mrs. Hawthorne was sharp and immediately understood what he was thinking. Don't you worry, she said firmly. Now that you're back, you are the only son of the Hawthorne family. I was completely oblivious to the fact that Sophia and Mia were now following me as well. I got to the rooftop and peeked out the door, immediately spotting Olivia in her white lab coat. She was standing near the edge, talking to a red-haired young man in a white shirt. The young man was sitting on the ledge, looking like he might jump at any second. He's only 22, so young to have a heart condition. He could have been a star athlete, but he had to give up running because of his acquired heart disease. Olivia was in the middle of trying to talk the young man down when she suddenly heard my voice. She glanced over her shoulder, and I quickly ducked back behind the door. That was close. She almost saw me. Olivia's mouth twitched. I've already been discovered. Knowing that the young man's despair was due to his heart condition gave her an idea of how to get him down. Sir, she said, her voice gentle, I'm the head of cardiac surgery at this hospital, so I know a lot about heart conditions. You must have just been diagnosed, right? Can I see your chart? Heart disease isn't a death sentence. You're so young, and you haven't even tried treatment yet. Why would you give up so easily? The young man looked at her timidly, clutching his medical chart. I don't have money for treatment. Money isn't the issue, Olivia said calmly. You can start a GoFundMe. I can even help you write it to get people to donate for your treatment. Just come down from there, and we can talk about it in detail. Olivia held out her hand to him. She was beautiful, with a kind and gentle face that was instantly trustworthy. The young man glanced down at the street far below, and the height made his legs tremble. He looked back at Olivia and decided to trust her. Just as he was about to move, his phone started ringing. He glanced at the screen, and all the color drained from his face. The phone continued to ring, demanding to be answered. When he answered, the sound of clacking tiles came through the speaker, followed by a woman's nonchalant voice. I heard from your coach you won some prize money at your last meet, a few $1,000s. I'm in the middle of a poker game and I'm out of cash. Wire some over to me. I raise. The young man's eyes stung with tears. Mom, I don't have any money. What do you mean you don't have any money? Where did that prize money go? I asked your coach, you just got it yesterday. Liam, I'm warning you, don't you dare waste that money on expensive sneakers like your friends do. You'd be better off giving it to me. I could win big with it. The sound of the game continued on the other end of the line, and Liam felt his chest tighten, his heart constricting with a sharp pain. I spent the money at the hospital on tests. I didn't buy any shoes. There was a pause on the other end, followed by an angry tirade. What kind of tests cost that much money? A few $1,000s? You've been scammed. Tell me which hospital it was. I'll sue them for everything they're worth. Mom! Liam's tears finally fell. He had been about to climb down, but after that call, he suddenly felt like there was no point. Maybe his diagnosis wasn't a disease, but a sign from the universe that there was nothing left for him in this world. The call ended. Liam looked at Olivia, a hint of apology in his eyes. Doctor, I'm sorry. Olivia, he's going to jump. Grab him. I screamed in my mind, my heart pounding in my chest. Before Olivia's brain could even process the thought, her body was already moving. She lunged forward and grabbed Liam's arm just as he was about to let go. He dangled over the edge, staring up at her in disbelief. Doctor, just let me go. There's nothing left for me here. Olivia held on with all her might, her face flushed with exertion. No, you can't die. I need you to live. She was a prodigy, a brilliant surgeon who had become the head of cardiac surgery at Mount Sinai at the young age of 28. She had a perfect surgical record, had been born into wealth, and had never wanted for anything. Her path in medicine had been smooth and successful. She had never known failure. But 2 days ago, when a patient had a brain hemorrhage on her operating table and died despite her best efforts, she had felt, for the first time, how powerless she was in the face of death. She realized that skill alone was not enough to defy fate. Faced with the family's accusations and anger, she had felt a crushing sense of defeat and had begun to question if she was on the right path. But now, seeing Liam about to fall, her first instinct was to save him. She couldn't bear to watch someone die in front of her. As a doctor, she had to fight for every life, no matter how slim the chance. Don't move. I'll pull you up, Olivia grunted, using every ounce of her strength to haul Liam back onto the roof. When he was safely back on solid ground, she finally let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. The feeling of solid ground beneath his feet felt unreal to Liam. Ever since his parents' divorce, neither of them had wanted him, seeing him as a burden. His mother was obsessed with her poker games, and his father had a new wife. He was the one they had thrown away. Even on his track team, he was never on the coach's list of starters. This was the first time anyone had ever fought so hard to save him. Liam looked at Olivia, and his eyes began to sting. Olivia was rubbing her aching wrist and was about to say something to Liam when he suddenly pulled her into a hug. It was the first time a man had ever hugged her like that, and she froze, completely stunned. My ship is hugging. This is the good stuff. I was so excited I almost jumped for joy. Mia also peeked out, snapped a picture, and sent it to the family's iMessage group. Olivia's phone was on silent, so she had no idea the group chat was exploding. All she knew was that my internal screaming was incredibly loud. Sir, how long do you plan on hugging me? At her words, Liam immediately let go, his face turning a deep shade of crimson. I'm sorry. I just wanted to thank you. Thank you for saving me. As a doctor, Olivia was used to being thanked. But after the incident with the angry husband and the feeling of being distrusted, this heartfelt gratitude felt different, more complicated. I think anyone in my position would have done the same. Having seen enough of the drama, I quickly headed down from the roof. Mr. Hawthorne. I was on my way to find a nurse to restart my 4 when someone called my name from behind. I turned around. Mason Croft? What was he doing here? I looked at him, dressed in a leather jacket and holding a motorcycle helmet, and my eyes practically turned into stars. Oh my God, this guy is so cool. I remember now, Mason is a professional race car driver. He's cool, he's handsome, he's a champion. What is wrong with Ava that she doesn't see how amazing he is? Mason, who had been in a foul mood from his own injuries, suddenly felt a surge of secret pleasure at hearing my internal praise. Ever since his birthday party, he'd had a strange feeling that he could hear my thoughts, but he'd brushed it off as a drunken illusion. But now, seeing me again and hearing the voice so clearly, his curiosity was piqued. He casually lifted his arm, revealing a nasty scrape, blood and dirt caked together in a painful-looking mess. I winced. That looks like it hurts. You should get that cleaned up. As I thought this, I also pulled out my phone and snapped a picture. Mason looked at me, confused. Why are you taking a picture? To show my sister Ava, I said. I shipped this couple, so of course I have to do my part to make their love story happen. I looked down at my phone and sent the picture directly to Ava. She was in the middle of gossiping about Olivia in the sisters group chat when my message popped up. She frowned and immediately started a FaceTime call. The second the call connected, Ava asked, "Are you hurt?" I shook my head. "It's not me, it's Mason." I then immediately flipped the camera to show him. Mason was caught off guard by the sudden camera in his face. Ava audibly held her breath, her eyes wide with panic. "How did you get hurt?" A clear smile played on Mason's lips. "Just a small motorcycle accident." "An accident?" Ava's voice rose. "You were in an accident and you're smiling? Ethan, take him to get checked out right now. Did he hit his head?" And with that, she abruptly ended the call. Why am I so flustered at the sight of Mason? Ava thought, shaking her head to clear the strange feelings. It's all Ethan's fault. If I hadn't heard all that stuff from his thoughts, I wouldn't be acting like this. Seeing the call abruptly end, I shrugged. "See, Mason? My sister is very concerned about you. Some people hang up fast but text even faster." While I was getting my foredrip, Ava spammed me with a series of worried emojis. I texted back, "Don't worry, Ava. Mason's fine. It's just a scrape on his hand. The nurse already cleaned it up." She replied, trying to act casual. "Oh, I was just testing out some new emojis I saved from the group chat." "Yeah, right. So stubborn." I thought to myself. When I looked up from my phone, Mason was walking out, his hand bandaged. I stared at him for a second, a sense of déjà vu washing over me. Why does this scene feel so familiar? Mason raised a suspicious eyebrow at me. My mind raced and then it hit me. I remember now. Mason's father, Mr. Croft, is here with his mistress for her prenatal checkup, and Mason almost catches them. The mistress is getting tired of being a secret and wants her child to be legitimate, so she starts scheming to break up Mason's parents. His father is cheating, and his mistress is pregnant. Hearing this, Mason didn't care whether it was true or not. He was ready to storm out and find the cheating couple. Who does this woman think she is, being a mistress? According to the original plot, Mason was only supposed to almost see his father and the mistress, not actually learn about her existence. After all the previous plot deviations, I was afraid this would be another one, so as Mason started to walk away, I quickly called out to him. "Mason, I've only got one more four-bag to go. Wait for me to finish and I'll leave with you." Hearing this, Mason turned and gave me a look. "It's better if I go with him. That way, he can hear my thoughts and find out who the other woman is." As Mason and I walked toward the hospital entrance, the sense of dread he had just shaken off came rushing back the moment he saw his father. Holy crap, it's Mr. Croft and his mistress. Mr. Croft was at the hospital entrance, helping the heavily pregnant woman into a car. She had one foot in the car already but turned back to give him a long, lingering kiss that made my stomach turn. The girl looks like she's in her early 20s, around the same age as Mason. Mr. Croft is almost 50, and he's dating someone his son's age. He has no shame, and that woman must be desperate. Hearing my thoughts, Mason's brow furrowed. He had never imagined his father would cheat on his mother, especially not with a girl his own age. Mason's eyes started to drift in their direction, but before he could get a clear look, I grabbed his arm. "Mason, I just remembered, Leo is in the hospital here. He got stabbed. Since you're here, why don't you come with me to see him?" I couldn't let Mason see that sleazy couple. In the VIP room, Leo was alone. Mrs. Hawthorne was nowhere to be seen. Hearing a knock, Leo looked up. A smile instantly lit up his face when he saw Mason. "Mason, what are you doing here?" Mason walked in and set his helmet down. "Ethan told me you got stabbed, so I came to check on you. I didn't bring anything. Hope you don't mind." When Leo had tutored at the Crofts' home, both Mason and his younger brother had grown fond of him. They found him reliable, capable, and hardworking, and he had managed to significantly improve the grades of a boy who hated studying. Furthermore, because Leo also worked for the Hawthorns, he would often see Ava visiting the Crofts and would talk to Mason about her, which had brought the two of them closer. But after what had just happened with his father, Mason was starting to believe that my thoughts were real. And if that was true, it meant Leo would one day be the cause of his death. A hint of hostility crept into Mason's eyes as he looked at Leo. "Of course not. I'm honored you came to see me," Leo said with a smile, gesturing for Mason to sit. His gaze then drifted to me, standing behind Mason, and a strange look flickered in his eyes. Since when did Mason get so close to Ethan? First, he stole my sisters, my parents, and my identity as the true Hawthorne heir. Is he gonna steal my best friend now? 2. Beneath the blanket, Leo's hand clenched into a tight fist. Mason noticed the look, then reached out and pulled me forward. "Now that you're back with the Hawthorns, you're a proper heir. You don't need to come tutor anymore." Hearing this, Leo looked hurt. "Mason, did I do something wrong? Are you firing me?" Mason used to fall for this act, but now it just made him feel sick to his stomach. You're a Hawthorne heir now, Mason said coolly. The Hawthornes are much wealthier than the Crofts. I imagine you're not interested in a low-paying tutoring job anymore. Tears welled up in Leo's eyes. It's not about the money. I can do it for free. Your brother's grades have finally started to improve. If I stop now, what if they drop again? He talks as if the kid can't learn without him. Don't get so full of yourself. Anyone can be a tutor? Who do you think you are? I was always number 1 in our school, and you were always number 2. Tutoring a grade schooler doesn't make you some kind of genius. I grumbled internally. A small smile played on Mason's lips. I remember Sophia mentioning that you were top of your class all through school. Ethan, why don't you tutor my brother instead? I was stunned. I could feel Leo's gaze on me, sharp as a knife. Well, it's getting late. We should go. You get some rest, Mason said. Before Leo could respond, Mason was already pulling me out of the room. We hadn't taken 2 steps before we heard shouting from nearby. What treatment? We don't have money for treatment. Let's go. You're coming home with me. Liam's mother had somehow found her way to the hospital and was now trying to drag him away by force. Mom, I'll die if I don't get treatment, Liam pleaded, refusing to move and looking back at Olivia for help. Olivia stepped forward, gently removing the woman's hand from her son's arm. Ma'am, Liam has a serious heart condition. If he isn't hospitalized for treatment, his life could be in danger at any moment. The woman just snorted. I recognize you. You're the doctor who killed that patient in surgery. It's all over the news. You're a quack. My Liam can't have a heart condition. He's been healthy his whole life. With that, she tried to get around Olivia to grab Liam again. Let's go. We're going home. But Olivia blocked her path, and she couldn't get anywhere near her son. I'm warning you, this is between me and my son. Stay out of it. Olivia kept Liam behind her. His condition was diagnosed after a full battery of tests. It's not something we made up. If you continue to cause a disturbance, I will call security. Go ahead, call them. Even if Liam is sick, I don't have money to pay for it. If you try to force us to pay, that's fraud, and I'll be the one calling the police on you. Liam's mother was defiant, showing no fear. The onlookers were whispering and pointing, and Liam's heart ached with shame. He leaned close to Olivia and whispered, Dr. Hawthorne, I should just go with my mom. She's right. We don't have the money for this. As he started to step out from behind Olivia, someone suddenly pushed him back. It was me. Ma'am, do you have any common sense? Paying for medical treatment is how the world works. Doctors get paid for their skills. How is that fraud? And another thing, when my sister saves a life, why don't I see everyone posting on Twitter calling her a miracle worker? I couldn't just stand by and watch anymore, so I stepped in. This woman is infuriating. Liam finds a donor heart and has a chance to live, but she tries to sell the matched organ for money, which is what ultimately leads to his death in the original story. Olivia looked down at me as I stood in front of her, her expression complex and grave. Liam's mother was so stunned by my outburst that all she could do was point at me and stammer, You, this is a hospital, not your living room. Stop causing a scene. You don't have to worry about paying for Liam's treatment. My sister said she would take care of it, and she will. But if you try to take him out of here again, I will call the police and tell them you're trying to murder your own son for money by denying him medical care. Let's see if they arrest you then. Sure enough, the threat of calling the police terrified her. I'll stop. I won't take him, she stammered. She shot one last glare at the timid Liam hiding behind Olivia. You just wait. With that parting threat, she turned and fled, terrified the police were actually on their way. Thank you, Liam said, rushing to thank me. I just smiled and waved it off. Don't mention it. It was nothing. But how do you know my name? I don't think we've ever met. I glanced at Olivia and quickly covered my tracks. My sister mentioned you. Olivia gave a small, weary smile. The kid couldn't even lie convincingly. He's my brother, she explained to Liam. Don't worry, I'll talk to security and make sure your mother can't get in. You just focus on getting better. We'll find a donor heart for you, and then we can schedule the surgery. Liam's eyes crinkled at the corners, and his smile lit up his whole face. Thank you, Dr. Hawthorne. I watched them, my heart filled with a strange warmth. They made such a good couple. Miss Hawthorne, Mason said, walking over and greeting Olivia. She glanced at him. Ava isn't here. I'm not looking for Ava. I've actually taken a liking to Ethan. Can he stay at my place tonight? Olivia frowned. No, he has his own home. Why would he stay with you? Mason smirked. Your home isn't really Ethan's home, is it? Your real brother is Leo. Ethan is, at best, your family's foster son. As Mason led me away, he shot a final, provocative glance back at Olivia. After that day at the hospital, everything started to veer off course in a strange way. Although Leo continued to play the part of the gentle, kind-hearted true heir, he noticed a subtle shift in the sisters' attitude toward him. Their unconditional guilt and affection were replaced by a hint of scrutiny and distance. And I, the fake son who should have been pushed to the margins, had somehow become the secret focus of their attention. That night, my recurring fever woke me from another nightmare. The chaotic fragments of the plot swirling in my head gave me a splitting headache. System, what the hell is going on? The plot is a complete disaster. Will I ever be able to go home? I cried out weakly in my mind. This time, the system's voice wasn't the cold, electronic tone I was used to. Instead, it carried a distant, weary sigh. Host, perhaps it is time I was honest with you. I am not a system in the traditional sense. I am more like a lingering will born from regret. I was stunned. The creator of this world, the author of the novel, felt an immense guilt and sorrow in her final years for the tragic fates she had written for all her characters. She believed she had created a world filled with nothing but tragedy. So, with the last of her strength, she transformed her will into what you know as the system and sent me into her world. Your death was the catalyst for all the tragedies that followed. That is why she chose you to be the patch to fix everything. Your mission was never to follow the plot and die. It was to use your inner voice, the one ability that can break through the story's framework, to save everyone and fight back against the powerful inertia of fate. I was completely floored. So, I wasn't just a disposable pawn, I was the savior? The next morning, sporting massive dark circles under my eyes, I was cornered in my room by all 5 of my sisters. Olivia's expression was grave as she spoke. Ethan, we heard it. Everything about the author and the plot. My heart leaped into my throat. It seemed they had all received the system's monologue last night. So our lives, our future tragedies, they're all just part of a pre-written book? Sophia's voice was icy, but it held a faint, almost imperceptible tremor. I nodded and told them everything the system had revealed. The room fell into a dead silence. They were all brilliant, successful women at the top of their fields. To be told they were nothing more than puppets on a string. The shock was immense. Ava was the first to break the silence. I don't believe it. This is insane. How can we be fictional characters? But you can't deny it, Isabella interjected, her face pale. Ethan's thoughts have predicted too much. Mason's birthday party, the incident with Olivia at the hospital. If we hadn't known beforehand, the consequences would have been catastrophic. So what do we do? Just sit back and wait for our tragic fates to play out. Mia clenched her fists, her eyes filled with defiance. No, Olivia said, stepping forward, her gaze as hard as steel. Now that we know, we fight. We will write our own stories. Just as we reached a consensus and were about to form our anti-plot alliance, an unexpected ally showed up at our door. Chloe Sterling. She came directly to the Hawthorne mansion and asked specifically to see me. In the study, she got straight to the point. The system inside you, or rather, the author's will, I can feel its energy fluctuations. I've long suspected that something was wrong with this world, that we were being manipulated by invisible strings. Now I'm certain. It turned out that Chloe, through the sheer force of her own will, had been the first person in the story to begin breaking free from the plot's control. She had been searching for a way to shatter the narrative completely, and my arrival had given her hope. Our alliance was officially formed, and with her intellect and resources, Chloe became our strategist. Our first target was Leo. The sisters stopped distancing themselves from him. Instead, they began to interact with him with patience and guidance. When he would start to fall back into his manipulative habits, Olivia would calmly say, Leo, I know that's not what you really think. It's the plot forcing you to act this way. You have the choice not to be controlled by it. At first, Leo was confused and resistant, but gradually, after being reminded again and again, the struggle in his eyes became more apparent. He began to fight back against the script's control, refusing to say the manipulative lines and refusing to carry out the schemes designed to harm me. Finally, one rainy night, he came to us, completely broken down. I don't want to be the main character anymore, he cried. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to be myself. Leo's awakening gave us a huge boost of confidence. After extensive research, Chloe proposed a bold theory. If the author was from this world, and her lingering will, the system, could enter it, then the plot itself, the Book of Fate, must also have a physical manifestation somewhere in this world. We have to find it and destroy it. The clues eventually led us to the long-abandoned original Hawthorne estate. It was where the family had first made its fortune, and it was also where the author had lived in her youth. We made our way to the dusty old mansion and, in the deepest part of the house, in an old study, we found a thick, leather-bound manuscript locked away in a safe. The moment the manuscript was removed from the safe, a cold, oppressive energy filled the room. In our minds, we each saw a vivid vision of our own tragic end. Olivia saw her own body, rotting and undiscovered. Mia felt the searing pain of being blown to pieces in a terrorist attack. Ava saw the empty, joyless life she would lead after Mason jumped from that skyscraper. "Don't look! It's the plot's final desperate attack," I yelled, snapping them out of their horrific visions. In my own mind, I saw my own happy ending, returning to the real world to find my parents and grandfather long gone, living a lonely, mediocre life, and eventually dying alone in a small apartment. That was the home I had been so desperate to return to, but now, it seemed so cold and empty. "No," I whispered, looking at the family around me, the people who had worried for me and fought beside me. I looked at Chloe, standing steadfast at my side, and for the first time, I knew the answer. "My home is here." I snatched the manuscript, took out a lighter, and set a corner of the page ablaze. As the flames leaped up, the manuscript seemed to let out a piercing shriek, and the tragic visions in our minds twisted and shattered in the firelight. Leo stepped forward and poured a bottle of rubbing alcohol over it, and the flames instantly consumed the entire manuscript. As the last page turned to ash, we all felt a weight lift from our shoulders, as if some invisible chain had finally been broken. Sunlight streamed through the dusty window, chasing away all the shadows. The world was finally free. A few months later, Leo turned down the Hawthorne inheritance and chose to study abroad, determined to find a life that was truly his own. Olivia and Liam's relationship blossomed. She funded his heart surgery, and he became her staunchest supporter. Mason, with Ava's encouragement, won a major international racing championship, and the two shared a passionate kiss at the finish line. And as for me, I found Chloe in the corner of an old bookstore, flipping through a book on horological design. She saw me and closed the book, a captivating smile playing on her lips. Sunlight streamed through the gaps in the shelves, bathing her in a soft, golden light. "What are you reading?" I asked softly, walking over to her. "Just thinking," she said, looking up at me, her deep eyes reflecting my own image. "Now that there's no script, how should we write our own story?" A warmth spread through my chest. I took her hand and pulled her into my arms. "Chapter 1, I murmured, leaning close to her ear, my voice both gentle and firm, "starts right here," and I kissed her. The pages of a nearby book fluttered in the gentle breeze, as if writing a new story for us, one filled with endless possibilities. This time we were the authors.